We're back at 8:45. The Tribeca Film Festival was first launched to help revitalize Lower Manhattan after the 9/11 attacks.
Tonight it kicks off with a celebration of its 15th year. Oscar winner Robert DeNiro and producer Jane Rosenthal co-founded the festival, and they're with us this morning. Good morning, guys. Good to see you.
Good morning.
So this did start, Robert, as you well know, as a response to 9/11, as getting the city back up on its feet downtown. And now here you are 15 years later. When you started it, did you imagine it as an ongoing festival or something that was just for that moment in time?
Well, you would like to think that it would go on, be part of the New York, part of the tradition, part of the fabric of the city, and it looks at this point like it could be. And so that's great. We had no idea that we weren't sure with anything at this point. So I'm very happy. We're all happy.
After 15 years, Jane, it does feel like an institution. It's one of the film festivals that you hear mentioned that's important. That's got to exceed even your wildest hopes back then.
It certainly has, and I'm actually happy that I'm not in an institution because of it. But it's been really extraordinary, and we're so thrilled that this year we can kick off with a story about the Met Gala and Anna Wintour. We also have other films that are going to be screening at the Whitney and at the Guggenheim about Elizabeth Murray and Mario Catalan. So as a new New York institution, we're bringing in some of the bedrocks of New York.
We were just talking, Robert, about how democratized filmmaking has become over these 15 years. People with an iPhone or a laptop can put together a movie. You guys are doing something with Snapchat. I know you want to explain step by step how Snapchat works. We'll do that later.
We know you're a big Snapchatter.
But it is remarkable how somebody with a phone can make a short film.
In 2006, we were actually one of the first festivals to screen a film that was made on a Nokia phone. And it was actually amazing how it looked when it was projected, because it had this tension. It felt like a cinema verite, like a Rossellini film. So we've always been about technology and about pushing the boundaries with technology, as long as you can tell a good story. So technology is great, but if you can't tell a good story, then forget it.
There was a bit of controversy, some headlines at the beginning of this year's festival when it was announced that this film called Vaxxed would be screened at the festival. Later, the festival pulled it. Was it because of the backlash? Were you surprised that people reacted the way that they did?
I was shooting a movie. I was in the middle of a lot of stuff. I think the movie is something that people should see. There was a backlash which I haven't fully explored, and I will, and I didn't want it to start affecting the festival in ways that I couldn't see. But definitely there's something to that movie, and there's another movie called Trace Amounts. And there's a lot of information about things that are happening with the CDC, the pharmaceutical companies. There's a lot of things that are not said. I, as a parent of a child who has autism, I'm concerned, and I want to know the truth, and I'm not anti-vaccine. I want safe vaccines. When you get, some people can't get a certain type of shot, and they can die from it, even penicillin. So why should that not be with vaccine, which it isn't?
So you said, you went public for the first time saying that your 18-year-old son does have autism.
Yes.
That had been a very private thing for you. And part of the reason you wanted this film shown was to start that conversation.
Absolutely.
Do you believe you'll now have a role in that conversation going forward?
Possibly, yes. Because the thing is that to shut it down, there's no reason to. If you're scientists, let's see, let's hear. Everybody doesn't seem to want to hear much about it. It's shut down. And you guys are the ones that should be the investigating. Do the investigating.
I think the film was controversial because people felt that the filmmaker had been discredited.
Even he, I'm not so sure about. At the end of the day, even him.
Jane,
well, one thing, there weren't sponsors or donors that were threatening to pull out of the film festival. It was our filmmakers, and we're known for having amazing documentary films. You can take a look at our lineup, whether it's what we're starting with tonight or some other documentaries that are equally controversial that we have at the festival. So it was our filmmakers that were pulling out. There's another amazing film about. I find that
amazing, and we're going to talk about that.
But there's another amazing film that was done by Roger Ross Williams that won the Audience Award at Sundance called Life Animated about autism, and it's a really beautiful film about the Susskind family. And
it's a beautiful film, but it's another thing. It's the result of. It's not questioning how some people got autism. how the vaccines are dangerous, if not given dangerous to certain people who are more susceptible. And nobody seems to want to address that, or they say they've addressed it, and it's a closed issue, but it doesn't seem to be, because there are many people who will come out and say, no, I saw my kid change like overnight. I saw what happened, and I should have done something, and I didn't. So there's more to this than meets the eye, believe me.
Is that the experience you had, Robert? Something changed overnight?
My wife says that. I don't remember, but my child is autistic, and every kid is different. But there is something there. There's something there that people aren't addressing. And for me to get so upset here today, on the Today Show with you guys, means there's something there. That's all I wanted, was the movie to be seen. People can make their own judgment, but you must see it. And there are other films, other things that also just document and show. You know, it's not such a simple thing.
Do you regret pulling it now in some sense?
Part of me does, and part of me says, let it go for now. You know, and I'll deal with it later in another way. But because I didn't want the festival to be affected in a way, because it was like a knee-jerk reaction, and especially from the filmmakers, frankly, that I you know.
The other filmmakers who were in the festival.
Whoever they were, I didn't even want to ask. But now I will ask.
Robert, it is nearly consensus in the scientific community that there's no link there. Do you believe that's not true?
I believe it's much more complicated than that. It's much more complicated than that. There is a link, and they're saying there isn't, but there's certain things. There's the obvious one is thimerosal, which is a mercury-based preservative. But there are other things there that I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I know, because I've seen so much reaction about just let's find out the truth. Let's just find out the truth. I'm not, you know, I'm not anti-vaccine, as I say, but I'm pro-safe vaccine. And there are some people who cannot take a vaccine, and they have to be found out and warned that you just don't give a kid a bunch of shots and then something happens. Some parents, you know, even in this documentary, they say, I knew I shouldn't have done it. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I talked to the doctor, or he's the doctor. I should listen. I should listen. I did it. The next day, you know, imagine how the parent feels.
The worry is that people who hear those words and wonder about it will then not have their childs vaccinated, which has led to a higher incidence of things like mumps and measles, that kind of thing.
I don't know if those statistics are accurate. I'm not the one to say, but I would question even that. There's a kind of a hysteria, a knee-jerk reaction. Let's see. As I say, everyone should have the choice to take vaccines. Some places it's becoming mandatory, but it does benefit the big drug companies, funnily enough.
If you want to start to look at facts and statistics, one of the things that you do need to look at in this movie, Vaxxed, is the contradictions of facts and statistics right off the top with what's stated, with what the rise is, what the graph is, and then people saying something different. So you need to read the reviews of that movie, make your own decision. Clearly, the festival has about 100 other movies that are in the festival. This was only going to be screened once. They've certainly had their voice and their time, and there's amazing films about other issues of social impact, whether it's the criminal justice system, an amazing film called The Return, another film about Herbalife, a whistleblower story, another film about drone warfare, National Bird, which is it really asks a lot of questions about how we go to war. Certainly the festival is about having conversation, and there's also some fun films too, Family Fang with Jason Bateman and Nicole Kidman. So we've got a lot for you at the festival.
It's always fun. And by the way, also highlighted by the 40-year anniversary of Taxi Driver.
Let us not forget.
Yeah, I'm very curious and interested to go and see, meet everybody who is in it, Marty and Jody and Paul Schrader, and it'll be interesting.
It'll be cast reunion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.